Shalom Bracha from Yerushalayim. In our last video, we did the Minhagim of the Friday night prayer, the Arbit of Lil Shabbat, from Mizmor Shir Le'om Shabbat until the Amidah. And now we will complete the customs of the Syrian community for Arbit, right as we finish the Amidah till the end. So, the Hazan begins with the prayer, Vaychullu Hashamayim Ve'ha'aretz Ve'chol Seva'am. Now he will say it and say it straight through till Bara Elohim Ma'asot. There will be other communities, not Syrian communities, possibly Yerushalmim, which have the custom where the Hazan says the first pasuk and then all the Kahal recites it, repeats the first pasuk and then the Hazan will continue. It's not our custom. The Hazan begins and says it straight through. Now an interesting halakha regarding Vaychullu. If a person either came late to Knis or spent a longer time in the Amidah than the Hazan, and the Hazan began Vaychullu, and he was in the Amidah and he didn't hear Vaychullu from the Hazan, then he says it when he finishes the Amidah. However, there are many communities which insist that a person cannot say this on his own. It's like a testimony, an idut. So you need two people. So he has to find somebody in the Knis, go to somebody and say, could you say Vaychullu with me? And the two of them will say it together. That is not required in our community. The custom is not to require somebody to read it together with somebody else. If a person didn't hear Vaychullu from the Hazan and he finishes the Amidah a little bit later, or he came late to Knis, he simply says Vaychullu on his own. It's followed by the beracha called Me'ain Sheba. It's a type of an abbreviated Hazara where the people are standing up and the Hazan will end it Mekadesh Shabbat, followed by Kaddish Titkabbal, which he says. After that, it's Mizmor LeDavid, Kaddish Yesh Shalama, for those who require or have a yortzeit and they need to say Kaddish. Obviously, if there's nobody saying that needs to say Kaddish, the Hazan will say this Kaddish. No Kaddishim are skipped in our custom. Followed by Baruchu Al Shabbat. After Al Shabbat, the prayer is over. Now you'll see in Kol Yaakov, it says some congregations chant Yigdal. Yigdal is a very famous song, a famous piyut, based on the 13 principles of faith of Harambam. It is not our custom to sing it Friday night. It is the custom of many Sephardic communities, Moroccan, Egyptian, Shawam, they all sing it. The Halabiya community, the custom is not to say Yigdal. In Adas, we don't say Yigdal Friday nights. In fact, I was looking at a book that discusses the Minhagim of Halab. It says there's only a few times a year which we say Yigdal. One is at a Berit Milah, when the grandmother is bringing the baby. The people will sing Yigdal Elohim Ahai. Another time is a couple of weeks ago, Simchat Torah, when we take all the Sefarim out. Yigdal Elohim Ahai Ve'ishtabach. It's another time. It's brought down that it's said at a wedding. And that obviously is fell into disuse. The Minhag seems to have been discontinued in our community, if indeed it was a strong Minhag in Halab. So I don't know when it was said or how it was sung. Joey Mosseri pointed out to me that in the notes of Hacham Moshe Ash'ar, the famous Hazan of our community for the first part of our establishment here in the States, first half of the 20th century, he has in his notes that on Rosh Hashanah, following Arbit, both nights we sing Yigdal. So I'm not sure if that's been continued, but that is found in his notes. Now, following Al Shabbat, where everybody is leaving the Knis, there was a beautiful minhag when we were kids, where, and you'll find it also in many Sephardic communities, but I remember it very, very, very clearly, that there was either one of the Gabaim or Shamash with Besamim, probably near the doorway at the end. And as people exit, they would make a beracha on the Besamim. Usually it was Hadassim. We would make Bura'aseh Besamim. Or very often, especially in Shari Siyot, there was, mashallah, there was a lot of people, and they used to use the silver holder that they used to give out to Besamim. I think they still do it on Saturday nights, where it's basically mazahar, rose water, diluted with water, and then they would sprinkle it and give it out to the people leaving the knis. And they would, splash it on the kids, and it was very memorable and a very beautiful minhag. It's minhag in order that in Shabbat we're missing some berachot, so it's one of the ways to complete the me'ah berachot on Shabbat. But it's a beautiful custom, and for those synagogues who do not do it, it's very easily instituted. So we should restore the old custom of Besamim Motzei Shabbat. Call to